Hey guys, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, and you guessed it, I'm back again with another Plan With Me video, this time for February. So I'm going to get right into my February cover page. As per usual, I've already drawn out my spreads in pencil to sort of roughly plan out where they go, get an idea of what I'm doing and where before I come on camera and ink it in. So for my February theme, I decided to do a floral theme in keeping with the sort of typical February Valentine's Day themes that you see, flowers, hearts, those kinds of things. But I decided to do mine with a little bit of a twist. So while it is sort of a floral theme, the flowers are not for Valentine's Day, but for my heritage. So I decided to do 2 flowers for February, each representing one of the nations from which my family has come. So while I am proudly Canadian and I have lived in Canada my entire life, my family has lived in Canada for generations on both sides. Originally, my family comes from Scotland on one side and England on the other. So I decided it might be fun for February to do a theme based on the national flowers of the 2 countries that my family came from. So on the cover page, as you might be able to tell already, I'm doing thistles, and the thistle is the national flower of Scotland. I've always really liked thistles, and I kind of enjoyed the fact that many people see thistles as a weed, as something unattractive or to get rid of. They're sort of prickly and, I don't know, very Scottish, and it seemed sort of antithetical to the regular Valentine's Day feels, and I kind of liked that. So I thought I'd do a cover page of thistles. And here I'm using a technique I've used in other bullet journaling videos before. I just take some plastic. You can get official Tombow brush pen mixing plastic, but honestly, you can use any kind of plastic. And I'm just coloring on the plastic with the brush pen that I want the color of, and then I'm picking up the color with my clear brush pen and applying it that way. It just makes the color a lot lighter, a lot easier to blend. It gives a subtler color, a lighter color, more on the pastel side, which I like. And it allows me to slowly build up the color instead of starting off with the full depth of the color right from the get-go. So now I'm moving on to my quote page, and this time my quote page says, "Be so full that even if they take and take and take and take, you can still be overflowing." And I just really like this quote. I think it's a good goal. You know, it might not be possible. And obviously, I don't recommend anyone stay in a situation where you feel like those you love are just constantly taking and never giving. But I do think it's something that I would like to work on. I want to be so full of life and love and caring and empathy and all of the things that I really hold dear, that no matter how much the world throws at me, no matter how much hate there is, no matter how much pettiness, no matter how much ignorance, that those things can't take away from what I have inside. So that's the quote page for this month. And then I did sort of an abstract line art rose, the rose being the flower of my other country of heritage, England. Now, obviously roses are a little bit more typical for a February spread, so I did think it was nice to be able to include them. For those of you who might want to include roses in your February spreads, because a lot of people do associate roses with Valentine's Day and February, but they have an added bonus of being the national flower of England, so it completely fits into my own personal theme for this month. Now I'm going on to my calendar page. I'm setting this up pretty much the exact same way as I do every month. My day boxes are 6 squares by 6 squares. I stuck with 3 Tombow brush pens for this video for the colors. That purple brush pen, the pink brush pen, and the green brush pen, along with the clear one that I used to pick up the color and deposit the color. So I'll link below which colors those are if any of you guys like them and want to pick them up. I'll have the color codes in the description box along with everything else that I've used in this video, so you guys can check them out if you're interested. My spreads this month ended up a little bit more colorful than I initially imagined them. And while, as you guys know, I do really like some good old black and white spreads, it was kind of fun to have a spread that had a lot more color going on this month, just for something a little different. It's also dreary and rainy and snowy and gross and cold in Toronto at this time of year, and sometimes you just need a little bit of color in your bullet journal so that every day as you're flipping through, you get reminded that color does exist in the world, if not outside in Canada in the winter. I added some green to the stems of both the thistles and the roses. On the roses, just doing a bit more of a shadowing effect, whereas on the thistles, I did a full on color in. I also did a shadow effect on the title there, as I've done on some of the writing on the other spreads so far. I think it just gives a nice subtle effect to the writing. Now I'm moving on to my habits and moods spreads. These I'm doing in the same way that I've done them for months now, so I think you guys are probably getting the idea. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. You can see this for the first time. This is how I do my habits and my moods. My habits I track in boxes and I cross them off every day that I complete them. Because February only has 28 days, I'm creating little mini boxes at the end to eliminate those last 2 days of the month and just filling them in pink. You'll see that later. For my moods, I like to do a graph. I do one line for the amount of sleep I got every night and one line for my mood every night, so I can see any kind of correlation there is between hours slept and my mood. And I just place dots in the correct spot each day, and then at the end of the month I connect the dots and see my graph. The habits I'm tracking are up by 10. Yes, I know that's not very early. I've had comments on this before. I am a mega night owl and so is my husband. It is easy for me to stay up till 3 in the morning every night, so waking up by 10 is actually a bit of a feat for me. But I'm working on it because I do get more done when I wake up earlier and go to bed earlier. So up by 10 is my first habit. Then I have temperature, so taking my temperature in the morning. This is for FAM, which is my method of birth control. I have a video on it. I'll link it below or in the cards if you guys are interested or don't know what it is. Oil pulling. I enjoy oil pulling for my dental hygiene and for keeping my teeth white. Taking my vitamins. Daily dozen, which I explained a little more in my last video, so I will link my plan with me for January in the cards and in the description box below, because that's where I went a bit more into detail about what the daily dozen is. Making my bed, changing the kitty litter, doing the dishes, tidying, meditating, working out, stretching, my sex and period tracker. What's wrong, buddy? It? Yeah? Can I help you? That's Chewy complaining that I'm doing this instead of doing something with him. It's fine. And journaling. For anyone who's interested, period and sex I combined just because I didn't have room for an extra box and I did want to track one extra thing this month. So I'm just going to cross off days for sex and then just put a little dot in the corner for days that I have my period, just so I can track both on the same little spot. And I just decided to add some roses along the bottom of the mood tracker and a thistle up on the habit tracker, just to continue my theme on into that spread. And now here we are on the last spread for this video, my first weekly spread. I'm doing the last couple days of January and the first couple days of February. I'm doing this again in the same way that I've been doing my weeklies for a while now. It's a running task list, running weekly, rolling weekly. There's lots of different ways to say it. I made a dedicated video about this type of weekly layout, so I will link that in the cards and in the description box for you guys to check out if you want to know how it works, how I set it up, why I use it, all that good stuff. And I'm just adding a few color accents to the spread and a single rose to tie in that theme once again. Now I'm going to go back to my index and fill in all of the spreads I just added and their page numbers so I can make sure that I'm maintaining my index as I go through the year. And here is the final flip through of all of my February spreads. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below what theme you would like to see next month. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. I put up new Plan With Me videos every single month and sometimes some bonus videos in between. Feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want to see more from me. I do post some bullet journal related things on my Instagram as well as personal things. And don't forget, if you recreate any of these spreads, please tag me on Instagram so I can see them. If you tag me in the photo, I'll be more likely to see it and be able to save it and potentially share it in my next Plan With Me video. I love to see your recreations. It makes me so happy. And feel free to tag me in spreads that you do that have nothing to do with mine as well. I'd love to see all of your spreads, whether they are inspired by mine or not. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I'll see you guys real soon in the next one. Bye.